Hi there, all my Korean readers. I love you for loving my books. Meeting my readers has been the peak of the trip so far. They express their gratitude and they are so happy meeting me and I'm happy meeting them. Alan Carlson himself, he wanted a sequel. He talks to me inside my head and I always said no. I used him to reveal the shortcomings of the 20th century, and I thought we were done with that. Then I suddenly felt a need to reveal also the shortcomings of present time, and after some thinking it through, I realized that nobody would be better suited than Alan to be in charge of that mission too. It certainly is more challenging when you create a story where many of the protagonists are still alive. It's easier to poke some fun at Stalin and Harry S. Truman and General Franco than presidents and chancellors that are alive and kicking. You have to treat them with some respect. They are all human beings after all. So that was the trickiest part and the biggest difference between the two books. Yes and no. Several people in this book is existing people, but since they are not super world famous, I have chosen to change their names. And that is an important principle. President Trump, he is at the top. He can look down at people. Therefore, he must accept being made joke of. But if you are a few steps further down in the hierarchy, then I always prefer to not let people recognize who I am thinking about. When I decided that Alan Carlson would be back, then I realized that two things were needed. First, my readers, they must recognize Alan. It has to be the same Alan Carlson. And second, he must develop in some way, otherwise he would be not interested. I'm very happy with myself for finding the solution. I put a tablet in his hand, so it is the same Alan, and through the tablet he develops, he creates interest for the world in a new way. But that took some time to find that solution. Part of my heart is in Africa. I have a beloved godson and my best friend. He lives in Cape Town, South Africa. I have had personal interest in a social project in Kenya, and I love being on the savannah, meeting all the wild animals and the great Maasai culture, but also people and dear friends in KwaZulu-Natal and all over South Africa. So, and Africa to me is certain friendliness among people. You are always welcome. After a long career as a journalist and managing director of a media company, I could say I wrote my first book mainly so I could still have an identity of some kind, because otherwise I was no longer a journalist. I was no longer within media. I was nothing. If I got the book published, then I could say I was an author. And the rest is pure bonus. 16 million copies. No, I did not expect that. I did not. First of all, I was very nervous coming here. It's easier to meet European readers that don't have that amount of knowledge about the drama, the history, all emotions when it comes to the Korean Peninsula. That was a worry I had, but also I just, since I was dealing with, you could say, the whole of 2017, I couldn't let Allan Karlsson not pass by North Korea that particular year, because it was an important, what was happening there in relation to President Trump, etc., was such an important part of present time. I used to joke it away like this, that the one I should worry most about would be President Trump, because I poke most fun on him. But I will be fine because he doesn't read books. No, the closest I got was that I gave an interview to a reporter of the German magazine Der Spiegel, and he handed over a fresh copy of my new book in German, and he asked me to kindly sign it for the next person that he would interview, which was Chancellor Angela Merkel. So I have delivered a signed copy to Angela Merkel. That is and I was told she was happy to receive it. After the first book, I promised the world there wouldn't be a sequel. So now when I tell you that it will not be another sequel, don't trust me. Well, finally, I'm having a great time here in South Korea, and I'm quite privileged being here and meeting you all, and it certainly had made me a more complete human being. And I'm happy to be back as soon as possible.